teachers are leaving the picket line and heading back to the bargaining table. But one of their key issues, classroom complexity, is not up for discussion. We hear from a speech pathologist who's faced those challenges firsthand. Plus, this Canadian is going to space, and he's bringing Indigenous teachings with him.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It's Thursday, February 8th. CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening, I'm Natasha Lipney. Sam McKeag is away tonight. Saskatchewan teachers and the provincial government are heading back to the bargaining table, but no one's breathing a sigh of relief just yet. The province has a new salary offer, but a key topic teachers want to address is still not up for discussion. Here's Alexander Kwan with more.
It was just another school day for many students and teachers across Saskatchewan after plans for job action were scuttled at the last minute. As teachers and the province announced late on Wednesday, they'll be negotiating again next week. It's a sign of movement for two sides that have largely been at an impasse, resulting in various one-day strikes throughout the province. Now, the Saskatchewan Teachers Federation says money is not part of the negotiations, but it has brought them back to the bargaining table.
From government, you're seeing, a renewed mandate that includes salary, but a couple of other items as well.
The province says it will extend its current offer, 7% over 3 years, or tie a salary increase to the consumer price index, a common measure of inflation that can vary widely. Any increase would be capped at 3% a year, the same deal that government MLAs give themselves. Teachers have proposed a 2% increase each year, but they want to add the consumer price index on top of that. With the potential movement on salary, many wonder if it's a done deal. But not so fast. The teachers' union believes something else is more important, even if the province insists it's not on the table.
We have been very clear that we expect class complexity to be addressed, and any agreement that does not include class complexity is not sufficient from our perspective and from the perspective we've heard from teachers across the province.
Still, the province's education minister continues to insist that won't happen.
As I've said before, we don't believe those conversations belong at the bargaining table, so that's not part of the renewed mandate.
Both sides have agreed to 2 days of talks next week, and the teachers' union has insisted that if things fall apart at the bargaining table, job action can be revived with just 48 hours' notice. Alexander Kwan, CBC News, Regina.
During this labor dispute, we've heard a lot about the issue of classroom complexity, from kids with different learning needs to managing packed classrooms. We checked in with a speech-language pathologist who's now running her own business outside of school because the need has been so high.
Some kids need speech therapy 5 times a day, and they would be lucky to get it, 1 8-minute round in a week. I can speak from experience that I would have, an average school day, 9 to 3:30, and I would have usually an average over 50 kids I'd have to try to see in that day, just given my caseload size. And so I would be bringing in 4 kids at a time to work with me on speech sounds. And if I have, say, an 8-minute interval to work with 4 kids, really only each kid is getting 2.5 minutes of my time. And I know that there are becoming lots of creative ways that my colleagues find ways to work with their caseload, but caseload's in the hundreds. And it's just one of those things where, as amazing as these professionals are, it just becomes impossible to do a good job, no matter how big your heart is to do it. We're seeing a huge interest in parents in pursuing support for their kids, and if those supports aren't readily accessible through the school system, or there's long wait times, then we are seeing more families that are accessing private services these days to get that help for their kids, for their overall well-being and development. We have a team of total 18 professionals, speech therapy, occupational therapy. We have a registered counselor who's a social worker. We have a psychologist. So, when you look at the challenges and complexities of our classrooms right now, and we have kids that are being viewed as aggressive or problematic, and it really that ideology puts the focus on the child having a problem or a challenge. Really, we know that early intervention and proper supports in place ahead of the game and being proactive is really what's going to benefit those kids overall. And we don't need to apply reactive strategies. We can, the importance of consistent therapy ahead of the game allows us all collectively to be proactive and to prevent those kids from experiencing those hardships.
We got a more detailed look today at plans for Saskatoon's new arena and entertainment district downtown. It will be called Saskatchewan Place. We got a hint of what people can expect in both the summer and winter, like green spaces, market stalls, maybe even a Ferris wheel. It would all be concentrated around 22nd Street, with the arena on Midtown Mall's north parking lot.
It's this step of the process because there's more detailed design work and partnerships to work out all those details and what's going to be needed to make sure we have these world-class facilities and a great gathering place for our increasingly metropolitan, growing, thriving urban center right here on the prairies. That's what today is really important for.
We still don't know exactly how the project will be funded or how long it will take to complete. Meanwhile, the city has confirmed an agreement to buy the YMCA's downtown building for more than $8.5 million. It needs that land for the entertainment district. Well, some Regina students were given an out-of-this-world inspiration at First Nations University of Canada today. They got to hear from a Canadian astronaut who's set to make history.
Because I was really excited to see an astronaut.
Why is that?
Because I really want to be one.
Astronaut Jeremy Hansen will be the first Canadian to go to space and to fly around the moon as part of the Artemis II mission. He'll be incorporating some Indigenous learnings on that mission, thanks to elders at Manitoba's Turtle Lodge. Hansen also showed off the mission patch he'll be wearing in space. The patch's design features symbols representing the 7 sacred teachings.
Henry incorporated the 7 sacred laws, part of their tradition, and that patch is just one example of Indigenous knowledge and knowledge that we can all resonate with. And I just feel really grateful. And so to share this this one Indigenous teaching on the patch in this very special place that lifts up people by sharing Indigenous knowledge just felt like a really great fit.
The goal of the Artemis II mission is to explore uncharted territory in space and to test out safety measures. It's hoped Artemis will eventually visit Mars. The crew will take off in September 2025. The Humboldt SPCA has come up with a creative way to raise money. It's called Neuter Your Ex. Yeah, you heard that right. They're not the only ones using this cheeky marketing concept. The CBC's Laura Sharpaletti has more.
Some shelters are calling it the ultimate revenge. Donate $50 towards a neuter or spay, and the shelter will name the cat after your ex, with the tagline, neuter your ex, because some things just shouldn't breed.
We're overfull right now with cats at the moment, so this helps us by getting them fixed and then finding them homes, because a lot of people want the cats fixed before they adopt them.
It's not the only shelter to appeal to jilted and scorned lovers for a fundraising campaign. It's actually kind of become a bit of a thing. Less than 24 hours after the Humboldt SPCA posted it, the Moose Jaw Humane Society jumped on the bandwagon as well. And it seems to have started south of the border. An animal shelter in New Jersey launched its campaign in late January, and the Humane Society of Southwest Washington followed suit just last week. Some campaigns have similarities. If you donate to the San Antonio Zoo, they will name a cockroach after your ex and feed it to an animal. Think charity meets catharsis. But does marketing like this cross a line?
This type of advertising, shock advertising, they're deliberately trying to break the rules. And so the point of it is to cross that line. Of course, you don't want to go fully fledged well over. They didn't take it too far, just enough to cause us this sense of surprise to make it so that people actually want to read more about the message.
But in a province with the worst domestic violence rates, the shelter president says they did pause to consider if this was the right choice.
This was just for a fun thing, but it does cross our minds, definitely. No, we're not the only rescue that's doing it right now, so it was just a fun thing to do.
Based on social media, some people are loving it, with comments like, "You and the internet with this one, good job," and "Best $50 I've ever spent, brilliant marketing." People are already handing over their money for a bit of revenge. Laura Sharpaletti, CBC News, Saskatoon.
That's how I spent my morning after a couple of weeks flirting with spring-like temperatures. Winter has reasserted itself in Saskatchewan. What else does this topsy-turvy season have in store for us? Weather specialist Ethan Williams joins us after the break. A volcano in Iceland erupted today for the second time this year. It's shooting lava up to 80 meters in the air. Volcanic outbreaks in southwestern Iceland are referred to as fissure eruptions. They don't usually cause large explosions or much ash, but authorities are warning of more eruptions, and scientists say they could go on for years. A dike project is underway to divert burning lava flows from homes and critical infrastructure. EU climate scientists say the world just crossed a worrying threshold. For 12 months straight, average global temperatures were 1.5 degrees higher than pre-industrial times.
We're getting more extreme droughts, more extreme heat events that are happening more frequently. When they happen, they're more persistent, so they last longer, and they're more intense. So we see records being broken much more readily. We're also getting more extreme flooding events.
Experts say that if we don't significantly reduce emissions, we will soon reach a tipping point. Extreme weather events will become more common. While the unprecedented warm temperature is concerning, it doesn't mean a Paris climate target has been missed.
The weather update is brought to you by Capital Ford Lincoln. Trade and upgrade is on now.
Weather specialist Ethan Williams joins us now. So we were just talking about lava, then we're talking about heat, but here in Saskatchewan, the conversation is snow. Has that finally come to an end?
Yeah, I think that snow is now mostly out of the province, Natasha. But, you know, even in parts of the province where it wasn't snowing today, the roads were quite treacherous at times. Take a look at this. This video we're about to show you is from Highway 1 west of Moose Jaw earlier today. And about a 100-kilometer stretch of this road was actually closed because of the weather conditions, leading to multiple crashes, including at least 5 semis, some of which you can see here. Now, this was the second of 2 incidents that happened on this stretch of road today. Earlier in the morning, several other semis collided. RCMP say this section of road is on a bit of a downhill slope, and the highway was pure ice. But these things do end up bringing out the best in people, and a local farmer ended up providing some equipment to haul stranded drivers out of the ditch. A very nice gesture there. The road has since reopened, but winter driving conditions exist on that road and many others tonight. And in fact, we do have a couple of other highways to tell you about that are not recommended for travel as of 6 o'clock, and that includes Highway 39 from Corinne to Yellowgrass, and that also includes Highway 19 from the junction of Highway 1 to Hodgeville. And I should note Highway 363 in either direction, west and east from Hodgeville, also not recommended for travel. And a reminder for drivers in Regina, we still do have the snow routes in effect. Those end tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Now, snowfall totals, these are just over the past couple of days here. A couple of heavier amounts. Those include western Saskatchewan, Shaunavon, Conquest picking up around 15 centimeters there. And then again in southeastern Saskatchewan, the only report, volunteer report we have is from the Merrifield area, but 10 centimeters as of this morning. And that includes the last couple of days, but that does not include the snow that continues to fall in that area of the province this afternoon and early this evening. You can see it's starting to die out here on radar now. We still do, however, have snowfall warnings in effect for that part of the province, and including Carlisle, Wawota, Moosomin areas up toward the Saltcoats and Langenberg area, including on the Manitoba side of the border. Those should be coming to an end, though, as we head through the night tonight. It's been gusty in that part of the province, too, so visibility has been reduced, and likely why we're seeing a couple of the highways in that area not recommended for travel. So the last bit of that snow moves out tonight, but then another round of it starts moving into southwestern Saskatchewan. Fairly light. We're not expecting too much accumulation from that. Tomorrow afternoon, we're pretty much in the clear, just a chance of flurries through the province. And yes, another day of cloud cover likely in store. But Saturday, bit of a break from that. I think some of us will see at most a mix of sun and cloud. Next system moves through the north as we head through Sunday, before another area of sunshine begins to move through as we head into the day Sunday. Now, in terms of total accumulation, probably about 2 to 4 centimeters in places like Val-Marie and Swift Current, maybe even the Kindersley area. Much of the rest of the eastern side of South and Central Saskatchewan, the snow is done for you folks. A little bit of snow moving through the north tonight could bring a centimeter or two, especially in western sections there. So in terms of your extended forecast for Regina, tomorrow we're looking at those cloudy skies. Again, I think a chance of flurries for us, and then temperature is going to be dropping a little bit. I mentioned we get that clearing on Saturday, so a mix of sun and cloud, but temperatures dropping to seasonal values. Should note that that is still quite nice for this time of year. We get a bit of a bump up in the back end of the weekend, and also see that cloud cover start to move back in before a chance of flurries on Tuesday, and then things dropping a bit below seasonal as we head into your Wednesday, Thursday. Saskatoon, very similar tomorrow, looking at a chance of flurries, temperature of -4, and then you start to see that similar pullback in temperature for Saturday before things improve with the sunshine on Sunday. Monday, Tuesday looking at still above seasonal with that cloud moving back in. Your Valentine's Day in Saskatoon looking at some cloud cover and -8. A little bit chilly for the overnight, and then looking at that mix of sun and cloud. So yes, a little bit gloomy here and there with the cloud, Natasha, but looks like brighter days possibly ahead.
Sounds great. Thank you, Ethan.
You bet.
The Luther Invitational Tournament officially got underway today in Regina. It's been running since 1953. That makes it the longest running high school tournament in Canada. The best girls and boys teams from across the prairies compete in the tournament that runs until Saturday. Stay with us. We'll be back after the break. Bell Media's parent company announced massive layoffs today. It's slashing thousands of jobs across the country at all levels. 1,300 positions were already lost last spring. Nisha Patel has the details.
It's the steepest round of job cuts at BCE in 30 years. The company will slash 4,800 jobs, a move it says will save $200 million this year. In a letter to employees, BCE's president said there would be significant reductions at all levels of the company.
We must address a number of factors in our operating environment, and that includes unsupportive federal government policies, higher interest rates and inflation, changing consumer preferences.
New rules mean big companies like Bell have to give competitors access to their high-speed fiber networks. Bell says it has spent billions of dollars building out that network, and the regulations undermine that investment.
They've allowed resellers to come in and actually price off of a wholesale rate, and therefore stopping Bell from a comfortable oligopoly. That's really Bell's objection to the government.
There were changes made at the CRTC to help those companies that are facing challenges, but at some point, companies also have to chip in. And again, they are not going bankrupt. They're still making billions of dollars. They're still a very profitable company.
It's the second major layoff since last spring, when Bell Media cut 1,300 positions. It said its news operations were losing $40 million every year. Almost 10% of today's cuts were at Bell Media. News stations such as CTV and BNN Bloomberg will be impacted, with multiple TV newscasts and other programming canceled. The company also sold off almost half of its radio stations in BC, Ontario, Quebec, and Atlantic Canada. Some analysts say for the buyers, it's an opportunity.
This kind of speaks to Bell's uncreative nature when it comes to controlling assets, that they just can't figure their way out of this.
Today, BCE reported profits sank 23% in its latest quarter compared to a year ago, though it did boost its dividend. The company also hinted it may have to cut costs even further. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
This isn't your typical car convention. Ottawa is playing host to a summit on the growing problem of auto theft across the country.
Cracking down on auto theft means bringing law enforcement, border services, port authorities, car makers, and insurance companies together. Now, first things first, we need to stop these criminals who are part of gangs and organized crime.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says the government wants tougher criminal penalties for car thieves. An estimated 90,000 vehicles are reported stolen every year in this country. That's an average of one car every 6 minutes. Trudeau says organized crime is becoming more brazen when it comes to stealing vehicles, and that the market for them overseas is getting bigger. The federal government announced it would spend $28 million to help curb exports of stolen vehicles. And Ethan back with another look at our forecast.
Yeah, we might just see some clearing tonight in Regina after a very cloudy day. Winds will be a little bit breezy at times, making that -6 feel a little bit cooler, likely into those minus double digits. Tomorrow morning, not changing too much temperature-wise, around -7. May see some breaks of sun here and there through the morning, but likely into the afternoon. Going to be seeing that cloud cover build back in. There is a slight chance that we could see some flurries as well. Saskatoon, you'll be fully clouded over still by midnight. By tomorrow morning, again, we could see some flurries in the morning hours. Temperature a little bit warmer, sitting around -4. And by the afternoon, that chance of flurries dropping off, but still going to be left under cloudy skies. Probably another day or two, Natasha, before we see that sunshine come back.
Okay, I'm happy to wait.
Same.
Thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
Two Saskatchewan stars helped lead Team Canada to victory last night in the Rivalry series. A sold-out SaskTel Centre watched the national women's hockey team best the U.S. 4-2. We chatted with Saskatoon players Emily Clark and Sophie Shirley after the game. Check it out.
I know this was going to be a special night for me. I was definitely going to feel the love, and there's no sense kind of pushing that away. I kind of tried to lean into it, take some good looks around in warm-up. Before the game, and obviously try to spot my family as I do every game that they're in the stands. A few more in the crowd today than normal. But yeah, of course, you treat it like any other game, but you might as well embrace those moments because they don't come around every day. Definitely in warm-ups, I was kind of looking around and got a good look at the crowd and all the little girls that were there cheering us on. And definitely a heartwarming feeling, I think, for me, being a young girl and growing up in this area, and being able to kind of put myself in their shoes like I was at one point, and to now be on the ice and be at this level is a pretty cool feeling for me. So definitely really cool. They blew my expectations out of the water. Definitely, I was feeling the love, our team was feeling the love, and I'm so proud of our group for getting that win for the crowd. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like me upstairs 6-7 years old at Blades games, so I don't know how many games I attended a lot of games. I don't know how many games I actually watched, because that's the best part when you're ripping around, being a rink rat, playing mini sticks, getting into trouble. So I expect nothing less. I'm really proud that we got to have this game here, get this win, get a lot of interactions with the crowd, our whole team, inspiring. I mean, I know firsthand all it takes is a few seconds and an autograph, and it can feel a dream for a lifetime. So I'm really proud that my community got to experience that today. It was super cool for me. I know I had probably about 15 to 20 family out there today, so a super cool experience for me. I know I kind of got the call late, but I thought I'd do my best whenever I was out there. I think I might just be saving it for Regina, I guess. Needed one more.
Tomorrow, the Rivals face off again in Regina at the Brandt Centre. And that's it for us tonight. For news anytime, head to cbca.ca/sask. Thanks for watching.